Okay, so for today, we're going to be doing a workshop on two tools for full stack development and prototyping. They're called both.new and v0.dev. So we have our intro, and then we'll have key features, developer and designer benefits, key use cases, adoption/drawbacks, demo, and then our conclusion. Okay, so after this workshop, you should be able to understand AI-powered tools to accelerate full-stack development, which are the tools that we're going to be going over, and then seamless ideation to deployment workflow, and we're going to help you reduce repetitive coding tasks and make them scalable. So key features. Oops, did I turn it off? Yeah. All right, so one of the key features is you're able to prototype at speed. So they have a streamlined workflow where you can generate functional prototypes from ideas or designs, and we will be showing this in a demo later on. You can integrate with design tools, and you can actually import designs from tools like Figma, but this is a premium feature. And then you can also generate quality code that can help you with your front end, back end, and database. This is like a short little video. Yeah. On the left, it shows like the prompt, and then it's like the AI generated explanation of what they're doing, and then right is like the preview of what it generated. And then another key feature is UI to code transformation. So it's able to convert UI components into working code, and it has Tailwind CSS integration for utility first development. And then from this, you're able to have interactive prototyping, which will have real-time previews with interactivity and animations, which will help you preview prototypes in real time, which is really useful if you're like a designer trying to see if your designs are feasible. So this is another like scroll through of kind of like the integrated design. Okay. And then another key feature is the feasibility transformation. So it's able to give you an automated feasibility analysis with the AI. So it can actually give you backend endpoints and API validation. And it'll explain this to you as well after you put in your prompt. And it also has a feature where you can have designer-developer collaboration within the tool. So this is like a short video showing like what kind of prompt you ask, but we're also going to be doing a demo later to show this as well. But yeah, you put the prompt in, and then on the left it'll give you an explanation, and on the right it'll give you the code and a preview of like what the code will look like. Okay, so there's benefits for these tools for both developers and designers. So I'm going to get into those now. So for developers, the key features for these tools are faster development cycles, AI-optimized suggestions, and error reduction. And these can really help speed up your process of development by helping you skip like boilerplate code, and then it'll help you select like APIs and stuff based on the information that you give the tool. For designers, it'll help you realize designs without waiting for extensive developer input. Not to say that you are able to replace developers with this tool, but it's a good starting place if you want to kind of see your code, see your designs in action without having to wait for the whole team to catch up. And then it has iterative design updates, so you can refine the prompts that you give to it, but again, this is going to be premium only to make updates in the actual design tool. And then again, they have prototyping, so you can quickly validate like your user interactions and design flows through the text prompts that you give to the app. So for the key use cases, we have MVP development, where you can automate both your backend and front-end generation so you can launch faster prototypes. And then you have product validation, which again, like I've said before, like you can build and test prototypes, and then from that you can send them out and gather user feedback. This can really speed up the process. And then it also allows for cross-team collaboration, so you can actually communicate between both sides of the team with the shared work shape within the tool. So with every good AI tool, of course, there's going to be like drawbacks and then ways to adopt So pro tips for adoption is you should leverage the pre-built templates that they have on the website. You can also look for those yourself. And you can also iterate with feedback loops and integrate with the CI/CD pipelines. And if this doesn't make sense to you, don't worry about it. You'll learn all about it soon. And then some of the drawbacks for this app are scalability. So it's really limited for large complex systems and understanding like given context. And also a lot of the or not a lot, but like some of the Figma features or like design features are limited to premium. So if you think it's worth it, go for it. And then sometimes, AI is not always right. So there is risk that it will give you incorrect code. So you still need to know how to code, and you still need to like eventually look over your code and make sure that everything is going well. And then for customization, they're gonna give you generic components, which is okay. But if you really want to get your custom ones, it's gonna require tweaking, which again requires some knowledge of how to provide the tool with what you need. Okay, we're gonna give a developer demo. Oh, sorry.
Okay, everybody. So, one thing, I hate to be that guy, but could you put your screens down while we're doing this? I know, it's midterm season, but we worked hard on this for you guys, and we'd love for you guys to absorb this information. Okay, so, with the demo, what you're gonna wanna remember with this is it is a tool, it is not a one-stop shop, right? Prompt engineering is as important as using the tool itself, because the more information you give it, the more it will help you. Has everybody seen the video of or that trend where it's like you try to have a kid tell you how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but they have to explain every single part, right? If you just say, make me a sandwich, they're not gonna know what to do, but you have to say take the knife, put it in the peanut butter. That's the kind of attitude you wanna do with these AI tools. So you can see this ideal prompt, it's a lot of words. It's not just make an app. So we're telling it exactly what we want, which is a prototype for a task management app, and then it should prioritize a sleek and modern user experience with a theme using the colors, and then we give it specific hex codes, right? Because if you want to have it integrate a specific design system or design kit, you want to be really specific, or else it'll just try to give you a super basic thing. We walk through each feature we want. So landing page, concise app description or call to action, task list view with checkboxes for marking task complete, responsive form to add new tasks, options for editing and deleting tasks. And then from that, you can add specific things that you'd want. So priority tagging system, all of this, it's really good for giving you boilerplate code, right? So this is things that it's relatively simple things. So tagging systems, color coding labels, a little responsiveness. This can help speed up a lot of that things where instead of spending an hour doing all the CSS and JavaScript that you want to have, if you're not using pre-built component library, it can speed it up. And at the end, it's always really good to kind of restate the key features you want. So responsive, optimized for mobile and desktop, that is important. It won't automatically make it responsive. Supports accessibility standards. And then at the end, it's really, really helpful to provide a detailed summary of implemented features and request feedback for refinement and additional features. Because it uses chain of thought, if you have it explain out what it's doing, you could tweak it and you could find exactly where it goes wrong. So if it's not making a page, you could see it will say, I'm now making all the pages. It won't say a specific page that you want, and you can move through it. So I'll go through both prompts, or good and bad prompts, and then I'll actually load it up and run it. So kind of contrasting it, the bad prompt, you can see basic task management prototype. You give it super general instructions, landing page, list view, and a form to add new tasks. You can see all the information that gets skipped over. Even though you know what you want, you have to translate it to an AI that doesn't know any of the prior kind of context. So improving upon that, you can see that we start to add in specifications. So we're saying from a development mindset, we're using Next, Tailwind CSS, and ShadCN, which is a component library. And then robust code quality with clear comments. It does work. A lot of times, if you specify robust in comments, it will kind of clean up a lot of fluff that it includes, and make it a lot easier to read when you're kind of implementing a lot of the things you want to add. We're giving it more descriptors, functionalities, and then responsive for desktop and mobile again, and then clarify anything after the first draft. It's going to be a really iterative process. You're not going to be able to just basically put do project and have it finish it for you. And then with the final thing, we take and we build off, we add our themes, a little alignment, use cards. A specific features list helps a lot because in its chain of thought, it'll check it off individually. And so you could also use that for debugging. So tips and tricks, you want to treat the AI like a child, right? You need to say exactly what you want. At the end of each new prompt, right? So when you're working to refine it, you could say you want to specifically say modify the code to address these issues. Even better if you could identify the exact line or the exact block of code. And then that leads into the third and most important one. Small changes are most easily fixed on your own because, again, these are tools. They're not doing the project for you. It's really, really critical that you still know how to engineer and still know how to code in these frameworks. Because if you try to just simply change one color, it is really easy for it to hallucinate and take the entire project in its context window and absolutely break it. I've done it before in the demos. I'll try to get it to do it again. All these small changes, so much easier to open up the file and change a hex code. I know it's counterintuitive. I know it's so easy to say, I want the AI to do this, but this is really just a tool to get you started and started at speed, and you have to kind of adapt it and make it your own. And then now for the designer demo.
So for the designer demo, we wanted to focus more on the features that apply for designers. So you can prototype at speed using both of the tools that we gave you. And with the functional prototypes, you're able to do both high-level ideas or low-fidelity designs based on what you provide to the tool. So these are just some sample prompts for both of the tools. And then it's not as detailed as the developer ones, but if you want it to be more code-focused, then I suggest that you make them more detailed. But these are just some ones that you can give it just to see how your code or how your design would look like in code. And then you can always refine your prompt later on, but like Aiden said, you need to be pretty specific with how you refine it, because otherwise sometimes it'll just redo the entire thing. You can also bring your designs to life, so you can convert your UI components into full functioning code snippets, and then you can also add interactivity and animations, and then it'll give you the preview on the right side so you can see how that would look like in real time. And then again, I just gave some samples here, but you'll see those hopefully with the actual website. And then you can also use it to validate your user interactions and design flows to kind of see if your user flows make sense and if they would match what the AI gives you. So these are some bad prompts. It's bad just because if you just give it very general prompts, it's not gonna give you what you want. You need to specify exactly what you want. Build a complete e-commerce platform with payment integration in one step is too big of a prompt. It's not meant to do your entire project for you. It's just meant to get you started, like Aiden said. So some tips and tricks for designers. Bolt.new is better for rapid prototypes and UI interactivity, but v0.dev is better for the practicality of your designs. And then in general, just be specific, include everything you know. If you know what tech stack you're gonna be working with, try to include that in your prompt. Tell them to use Tailwind, tell them to use the Shadcn components. The more specific you are, the better it'll turn out. All right, so for the conclusion, the key things you should learn from this are both of them are used to transform rapid full stack development with innovative solutions. And they're great for task automation. You can streamline your workflows between both developer and designer and boost collaboration. And then you can also validate your ideas early so that if one part of your team is stuck, you can just kind of see where you're at. This is just kind of showing you what our future is going to look like. AI, it's not something you can fully depend on, but it is something that's going to keep growing, and it can really revolutionize product development with efficient and intelligent tools. Yeah.
You guys can open your laptops again now, because I encourage you to check them out. So bolt.new and v0.dev are the URLs, right? So v0 is made by Vercel, so developers, the hosting platform. And then bolt.new is a newer tool, but it's still really impressive. Both of them have free tiers, so I really encourage you to just test it out, see how it can help you. Some of you may be more familiar with it than others, but yeah, no, feel free to check them out. Okay, so with v0, we have prompts prepared that we've kind of messed with a little bit that we will
you can take these from
get going.
Which prompt do you want to do first?
Let's do like up or I guess we'll just do, we can probably just do that one.
Okay.
So we'll start off strong. If you remember, this is the example from the slides. So this is a robust kind of really detailed description. Write it out. A lot of things that helps me is if I try to describe what I want to myself. So putting it in, you can see chain of thought. So it's saying it's thinking, it's running through. I'll create a prototype. You can see that the hex codes get translated into the colors that we're looking for. So, and right now it's running through and creating a lot of the boilerplate that you need to run the app. So it's writing this in Next for those who aren't familiar. And this is file-based routing. It's just a great tool to learn, by the way. So if you tech stacks are using Next, it's a really, really, I remember Butner said this to me in 36A. You don't learn to write an essay by just getting handed a pencil and starting writing. You read a lot of good essays in order to see how other people write. So this is a really good way to see a lot of the new kind of introductions to kind of specific tech stack things. So you can see use states, use client, all this importing stuff. It's really, really helpful because it will load the app that it creates in the browser. And then you can play with it, you can kind of mess with it. So you can see this is the rendered version of our app. You can see it's got colors, you could mark things completed, you could do things like that, you could delete it, we're back. We could delete things. You see all the minor things that I included on the first shot we're able to take and actually have. But you can see that it's not perfect, right? So we just tried to add a task and all the UI elements worked, but no task was displayed. So we state the problem and it takes the entire app and it says, let's fix the task functionality to make it work properly. So you can actually track it as it's moving through. You can see it's scanning the entire file, right? So it's rewriting what it thinks the issue is. And a lot of the things that you can do is you can try to debug it yourself if it's something really simple, or you could if it doesn't get fixed off of the first thing. And as we look back into the app, we try again, and we see that now it does work. So it will take, like I said, it will take a bunch of iterations. It is really good at prototyping at speed and getting a good base down, but this is not final code. And it's really important that you don't just kind of copy, paste, and forget. You test extensively, because as we see, sometimes it's like an edge case that doesn't work, and if you kind of move on without it, then it won't be good. And so a really good and handy thing with V0 is it's really easy to share code, right? So you click add the code base, and since we chose to use shadcn, we could actually add this through an npx command into a code base like really easy. Then you also have the ability to fork, right? So you could fork off of your initial chat, and so you could like make changes to it, and you can go off of different branches. So let's say you wanted to add a certain component, but you don't want to actually reset the entire app. You can do that. And if you just want like a really like blazingly fast proof of concept, you could also deploy it. So what it does is you have to add, it's kind of a weird system that they have. You have to create a project on Vercel and then have a chat added to it. But Vercel will create a link that you can access and they'll publish it. So if you just really want a fast proof of concept, you want to rapidly prototype for a client, you want to do something, it'll be an ugly link, but it'll create a link to the app that it prototypes. But yeah, I highly encourage you guys to mess with it. That's the way that you learn with these AI tools. And this is all in the free version. You do get hit with a certain amount of messages, but honestly, I have not ran out of messages with most tasks that I have kind of undertaken.
Let's move on to letting them try.
And so now we're going to move on to letting you try it.
Okay, awesome. So basically the idea is every team, if you guys can have like maybe 1 or 2 laptops set up, and the idea is you're just basically trying to prompt it to make the best app or best component that you can. And then at the end, we're going to choose a winner and give a prize to be determined later. Sounds good?
The prize is very exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
Very special.
Very special.
One of a kind.
You could probably, it'll feel good to have it. It'll be very validating. So.
All right. So we'll turn on the lights, and then you guys can get started, okay? And then we'll be walking around too if you guys ever need any help getting set up or I guess.
Raise your hand, and then
Yeah.
someone from Software AD can help you. Ready, go.